Why would a picture-perfect couple risk everything by playing with fire behind the scenes? That's the question sending shockwaves through Hollywood as the curtain lifts on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's world. For years, these two projected a flawless image, glamorous red carpet walks, cheeky social media posts, and a love story that seemed beyond reproach. But recent allegations suggest their off-screen reality is loaded with hidden deals, personal vendettas, and a tangled legal nightmare that might destroy their carefully curated reputations. Rumors are flying about secretive manipulations that stretch back years. Insiders whisper about money, shifting hands under the table, carefully timed stories planted in the press, and more than a few bruised egos left in Blake and Ryan's wake. Much of this centers on a high-stakes lawsuit involving Justin Baldoni, who claims he was labeled a predator by Ryan Reynolds as part of a deepening feud. At first glance, that might sound like a misunderstanding blown out of proportion. Yet the deeper you dig, the more you realize these aren't just impulsive accusations. Many suspect Blake Lively herself has been fueling the negative press, working behind closed doors to undermine Baldoni's career and pin the blame on him. Baldoni's supporters say he got caught in a twisted game, one he never even knew he was playing until it was too late. They point to a swirl of unexpected statements and legal motions that popped up just as Baldoni began rising in Hollywood. He was no stranger to success, especially after establishing his presence as a director and actor. Then suddenly headlines started painting him in an ugly light. Rumors about his behavior on set, hush-hush insinuations that he might be crossing lines with co-stars. Many now think these stories were carefully planted. And if that's true, who stood to gain from his downfall? One of the strangest plot lines emerging from the chaos is Hugh Jackman's involvement. Jackman's known for his friendly bromance with Ryan Reynolds, a humorous dynamic that usually makes fans laugh. But beneath the memes and playful jabs is a suspicion that their constant banter might be covering deeper truths. Some have wondered about Jackman's personal life for years, especially after he divorced his wife of nearly 3 decades. Was that merely a sad ending to a long marriage, or is there more to the story? Gossip hounds point to the comedic bits Hugh and Ryan performed together, often hinting at romantic tension, but always passing it off as a joke. It's the sort of thing that, for most celebrities, would raise a mild chuckle. Yet in the context of this lawsuit, fans wonder if these staged bromances are meant to distract from actual secrets. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Blake Lively's presence looms large. Sources inside the legal battle claim she's far from a bystander. Instead, they portray her as the mastermind pulling puppet strings, especially when it comes to burying evidence under AEO, attorney's eyes only, protective measures. She's allegedly insisted that mountains of documents and messages remain sealed, including potential bombshell texts between her and singer Taylor Swift. Nobody knows exactly what those texts might reveal, but the speculation is electrifying. Some say those chats could prove the women coordinated a smear campaign against Baldoni, labeling him in negative terms and isolating him from industry deals. Whether that's true or not, the hush-hush approach only adds fuel to the fire. If Blake has nothing to hide, why fight so hard to keep these exchanges locked away? On top of that, swirling rumors question Ryan's sexuality. People have noticed how often he trumpets his bromances, going out of his way to show off that everything is strictly platonic. There's nothing inherently wrong with a guy celebrating close friendships, but some find it odd how relentlessly he emphasizes these connections, as though he wants the world to know he's super straight, but also suspiciously eager to mention Hugh Jackman at every turn. It's led many to joke that he doth protest too much. Of course, if Ryan is dealing with personal identity issues, that in itself isn't scandalous, unless it ties into a broader web of deception orchestrated by him and Blake to keep up a profitable public facade. Beneath the tabloids and gossip blogs, the legal fight intensifies. March 2026 looms as the date of a massive showdown in court, where depositions threaten to pry open everyone's secrets. Allegedly, lawyers for Baldoni want Hugh Jackman under oath because he might shed light on how Ryan behaves behind closed doors, and whether he's following Blake's orders to sabotage anyone who threatens their empire. There's talk of shady deals, rerouted funds, and hush money. The attorneys claim that once you connect those dots, it becomes clear someone orchestrated a multi-pronged campaign against Baldoni, using every tool at their disposal to ruin him. For Blake, much of this speculation is devastating. She's built her brand on being the sweet, fashion-forward actress who married the guy everyone calls the funniest man in Hollywood. The suggestion that she's micromanaging a smear campaign feels at odds with the bubbly persona she shows the public. Yet the meltdown rumors keep surfacing, with insiders describing Blake as increasingly frantic behind the scenes. They say she's terrified by the possibility that texts, emails, or videos will be unsealed in court. If they contain sensitive or scandalous revelations, like full-blown attempts to manipulate the press or blackball Baldoni's projects, her brand could take a permanent hit. While Blake scrambles to keep AEO protections on as much as she can, Ryan's comedic stunts continue to stir confusion. He famously tries to brush off controversies with a wisecrack, or he appears on talk shows with his signature grin as if everything's peachy. But it's hard to laugh away accusations that you flat out labeled another actor a predator, especially if you aren't 100% sure you believe it yourself. Critics argue this approach only amplifies suspicion. Each time Ryan cracks a joke on social media or does a playful cameo on TV, viewers ask, is he trying to distract from real trouble? Or is he just clueless about how serious this is becoming? Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni isn't staying silent. Through his legal team, he's making it clear he believes major players, including Ryan and Blake, conspired to ruin him both professionally and personally. Maybe Ryan's comedic talents made him the face of the campaign, but some suspect Blake is the real power behind it. She's the one who knows how to sway headlines thanks to a sophisticated network of connections in the entertainment industry. She's also rumored to be unstoppable when she sets her sights on a goal, like preserving a polished family image or ousting someone from Hollywood's good graces. The question is, why would she see Baldoni as a threat? It might be as simple as personal grudges or conflicting business interests. Or it might be more complicated, involving tangled alliances with other A-listers, such as her longtime friend Taylor Swift. Speculation around potential Swift-Lively texts suggests these communications might unveil a coordinated attempt to overshadow or undermine Baldoni, painting him as problematic so he'd lose roles and face public backlash. What's truly stunning is how the entire saga pulls in names from across showbiz. Taylor Swift, an artist famously protective of her brand, could find herself facing unflattering PR if these rumored texts with Blake ever go public. Justin Baldoni could go from victim to victor if he proves the predator label was maliciously manufactured. Ryan might be forced to address the incessant rumors about his personal life in a far less comedic setting than he's used to. And Blake, well, everything from her red carpet persona to her squeaky clean talk show appearances might collapse if people realize she's been secretly orchestrating smear campaigns for personal gain. Behind it all lurks the legal system, which rarely cares about illusions. Judges and lawyers want proof, not polished public relations statements. If the AO protections are lifted on certain documents, the public may get a front row seat to every text, email, or phone call that reveals what truly happened. When that day comes, if it comes, there could be no more hiding behind carefully posed family pictures or breezy social media jokes. The public's already watching closely, noticing every slip-up. Each time a judge denies another AEO request, rumor has it that Blake Lively's frustration skyrockets. Perhaps the meltdown the tabloids keep mentioning is less about personal grief and more about raw fury that she can't manage the narrative like she used to. Still, not everyone believes Ryan and Blake are sinister masterminds. Some say they're simply using standard legal strategies to protect themselves from a frivolous lawsuit. Could it be that Baldoni is overblowing his case for attention? Maybe. But the sheer volume of internal references to sealed evidence, rumored text messages, and hush-hush documents makes it hard to shrug off. Something is happening, and it's bigger than just a spat between celebrities. Every step, Hugh Jackman's involvement, the predator accusations, the swirling gossip about Ryan's identity, feels part of a bigger puzzle that keeps forming a darker picture of alleged manipulation. Meanwhile, the hype around a potential deposition for Hugh Jackman signals that Baldoni's lawyers are determined to chase every lead. They want to know exactly how these bromances tie into the bigger lawsuit. Are they purely comedic marketing tools, or do they conceal a pattern of orchestrating humiliations for perceived enemies? Was Jackman recruited to degrade Baldoni publicly, or did he just get roped into a buddy act he thought was harmless? If Jackman has relevant behind-the-scenes knowledge, the questioning could reveal a side of Ryan no one's ever seen, and possibly a side of Blake no one even imagined. Financial stakes are high, too. Ryan's image as a fun-loving guy who invests wisely, from gin brands to sports teams, could suffer if he's seen as someone who wages smear campaigns. Blake's attempts at controlling the narrative might feel like the nails in the coffin if a judge or a jury concludes she's been abusing legal processes to clamp down on unflattering truths. For fans who adore this couple, it's disconcerting. They followed Ryan's comedic roles, laughed at his social media quips, and admired Blake's fashion sense and philanthropic work. It's unsettling to think that behind the curtain, a far more ruthless dynamic might be unfolding. As the countdown to the 2026 trial continues, tensions will only rise. Each passing week, more bits and pieces slip through the cracks, often contradicting the well-polished version of events Ryan and Blake try to project. Observers say it's a question of when, not if, a major leak or revelation will blow this wide open. Blake's meltdown could intensify if certain depositions force her to address awkward questions about manipulating the press, controlling Ryan's comedic routines, or conspiring with powerful friends like Taylor Swift. She might try to spin things as a misunderstood crisis or a consequence of protective instincts. However, the evidence, if it appears, could show a blatant pattern: carefully orchestrated allegations, defamation tactics, and cold-blooded revenge. Even more intriguing is the possibility that Ryan's comedic persona ends up fueling his downfall. People who once found him charming may think he's been mocking a serious conflict all along. And if he truly believes everything Blake says, even if parts of it are false, then he's complicit in perpetuating false accusations. The unsealed documents might prove it, turning public sympathy in Baldoni's favor and leaving Ryan scrambling for damage control. In Hollywood, a single well-timed leak can vaporize years of brand building in an instant. All the while, the rumor mill churns about parallel agendas. Did Blake manipulate coverage of Hugh Jackman's divorce to keep the tabloids off her own marriage drama? Did she allow the swirling speculation about Ryan's sexuality to overshadow Baldoni's lawsuit so it wouldn't get as much attention? Some watchers claim that's exactly how top-tier celebs operate. If you can't kill a story, drown it out with another, typically more shocking scandal. Perhaps the meltdown is simply because those tactics are no longer working. As soon as she tries to pivot the press toward a fresh topic, the lawsuit flares up again, demanding attention. Eventually, she may run out of convenient distractions. In the end, the biggest question is whether Blake and Ryan can outrun the legal process itself. Judges aren't easily swayed by star power. If the time comes for depositions to go public, the world will see unfiltered transcripts. If the rumored texts with Taylor Swift reveal that they intentionally orchestrated Baldoni's downfall, the story's spotlight will swing in an instant, away from comedic banter and glamorous outfits, straight to cold, hard evidence of orchestrated sabotage. That's when the meltdown goes from rumor to undeniable reality. The Hollywood machine loves a comeback story, but if this fiasco ends with Blake and Ryan labeled as cunning manipulators who stomped out a rival's career, the damage could be irreversible. Fans are starting to connect the dots. They're no longer satisfied with cute talk show anecdotes. They're questioning every carefully posed Instagram post, every suspiciously well-timed paparazzi shot, and every attempt by the couple to change the subject with jokes or family moments. If that house of cards collapses, all the goodwill they've accumulated over the years might vanish overnight. And so we wait, watching a case that feels more like a Hollywood thriller than a standard lawsuit. Gossip fans and serious reporters alike are ready for the next twist. Maybe the unsealing of messages, maybe a shocking admission under oath, or maybe a meltdown so big it spills into public view. One thing's certain, the truth has a way of surfacing, especially when multiple parties have incentive to uncover it. Whatever emerges, it could redefine the public's view of Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, Hugh Jackman, and even Taylor Swift. It might also serve as a jarring reminder that celebrity fairy tales can hide a labyrinth of manipulation and betrayal. All eyes are on the countdown to March 2026. Will it be the moment the real story behind this power couple is finally exposed? Or will Blake manage to extend her secrecy protections, keeping the darkest details locked away? Even if she succeeds, the questions won't vanish, because every leak has chipped away at their pristine veneer. In the end, the meltdown on everyone's lips may be less about heartbreak and more about a ruthless operation unraveling at the seams, one that reveals just how far certain celebrities will go to preserve their brand, and what happens when the people they cross decide to fight back.